Welcome to the 70th Rally Poland. It's round 9 of 12 of the 2013 FIA European Rally Championship. And as ever, tension is high as we head into the final stage of what has been 2 days of wet and muddy going. Challenging for the drivers, demanding for the cars and for the teams. And it looks as though we will have not only a new Polish champion by the end of this, but very likely a local winner as well. The big star name, Robert Kubica, crashed at the end of day 1 and did not reappear in day 2. But the local crowds have had plenty of entertainment and action on these very demanding stages. And so we get to the final stage, our second run through Masurian. This is stage 13 of the rally and the last today. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you're watching. I'm Martin Haven. Sitting alongside me is Guy Wilkes. And Guy, all looks very calm and serene here now. A little bit of sun breaking through, but the weather this week has not made life easy for these guys.
No, absolutely not, Martin. It's been a heck of a weekend of a rally, you know, real demanding challenge, and you can see from these pictures the conditions that they've been faring with. We've got an exciting battle for the lead.
Yes, we have, indeed.
Local guy.
That was the veteran Mikołajki. He was third in the standings till stage 8. He dropped down to stage 9 and is now 29.7 seconds behind this man, Jan Kopecki. This was the close battle for the final podium spot at the beginning of the day, but Kopecki has eased away from the veteran despite a drive shaft problem again. Brian Bouffier says he's driving at 110%, and that's as much as he's got in a Peugeot 207. Broken right damper earlier on cost him the lead of the event, but it wasn't just the damage, it was the damage done by the speed this morning of this man, Katajan Katanovic. He is the rally leader in his Ford Fiesta R5, and after bedding himself in nicely yesterday in the new R5 spec Ford, today was clearly the day. Whatever the Polish is for maximum attack, I think that's what he had on the dashboard this morning as the plan of action, and he leads by 18 seconds.
Yes, hero status does await, but one stage stands between him and that, so it's going to be enthralling.
Rallying is, of course, a great sport for teaching you that 0 to 0 is just one tree, one rock, one ditch, one log pile away, so nothing taken for granted. Just outside the top 5, Craig Breen in 6th place in his Peugeot Academy car. Mikołajki is in 7th place, and the Estonian, fastest on one of the stages yesterday, Kangur, lies in 8th. We'll have live action for you in just a second from Rally Poland. Ready to go live for the final stage of the 70th running of Rally Poland. And first man on the road today, Dominykas Budvilas of Lithuania. Jeremy Onsian, who stopped in the stage, the first televised stage this morning, lost getting on for 20 minutes plus, is still second on the road. And Martin Kangur, third man into the stage. We'll be following all our top 10 through to the end and to see the rally winner being decided. And it does sound as though Katanovic has got one hand on the trophy. Guy Wilkes, we're hearing over the radio just a moment or two ago. Brian Bouffier coming out the last stage, the penultimate stage, reporting only 3 brakes on the Peugeot. So damper problems, brake problems.
Yeah, slightly disappointed to hear that, but hopefully he can get that brake pipe sealed off and get into the stage okay. 3 brakes isn't ideal, but hopefully he doesn't drop too much time and he can maybe hold on to a podium position. He does have 1 minute and 8 seconds over Jan Kopecki, so it's going to be interesting for him as well, even though he has 3 brakes.
Yeah, Dominykas just outside the top dozen in his Mitsubishi Evo. This is an R4 car, essentially Group N spec car, and compared to the hot hatches that we're going to see, the front runners, it is a big old beast on these roads. 12th place, and he is currently lying second in the... He's leading. Yeah, he is leading the class, isn't he?
Yeah, he's leading Toshi Arai by just over 2 minutes, 2 minutes 6 seconds or thereabouts, and so he's doing a great job. He's had a really solid rally. He's not made a mistake really, and been quite consistent in his pace of Group R4, as it's called now, old Group N and such. And yeah, really solid rally, and he's opened the road all day, so he's not had an easy job.
You can see if you watch the wheels, sometimes they disappear down to the rims and below into the ruts on these roads. Average speeds are still reasonably decent, haven't had a lot of extra water added to the stages. They didn't need much after what they've had dropped on them this week. So a lot of these farm area roads, fairly muddy, fairly sandy as well, as you can see, but not an awful lot in, I mean, not the sort of traditional San Remo gravel or British gravel you would expect, but it's been pretty tricky going for a lot of these guys.
It's a real mix, exactly that. In one stage, not just the whole rally, but in one stage they seem to be passing over a lot of different surfaces, and obviously that gives varying amounts of grip depending on the surface that is underneath. Obviously we can see here on the tarmac, but the gravel alone seems to be quite clayey in sections, very slippery, slithery mud, and some places really quite good grip and quite hard packed, other places sand. So, you know, all in one stage, like I said.
Well, Jeremy Ancien had that problem on the televised stage this morning. Let's hope the TV is not a bad omen for him today. And we dropped him out of any remote chance of being in contention for anything, effectively.
It's a real awkward start, that, Martin. You know, he's straight off the start line, 25 metres into a hairpin right, you know, onto a narrow road off tarmac. The only good thing is that it's off tarmac, and you can just get enough purchase with the back end of the car to break it away and get it to turn on the handbrake. So otherwise, quite awkward.
Again, we've talked about some of these stage, you know, the corners being fairly tight and twisty and quite technical, but actually a lot of this stage today has been really quite quick stuff, fifth gear, sixth gear stuff, and, you know, bouncing from rut to rut, whatever track you've got on your car, it's not going to be exactly the same width as the ruts, guaranteed. So the front end will be bouncing along, you know, tram lining along, and the rear will be bouncing in and out of the ruts. It's pretty rough ride. A lot of the drivers saying this was very, very bumpy. Toshi Arai, who, as you've commented on a couple of times, has probably seen more stages than most of us have had hot dinners. He said it's the roughest, bumpiest stage he's ever been on, and that's got to take something. Yeah, he's rallied in Malaysia and
all over Australia,
yeah,
Indonesia, South America, everywhere in Europe. He's got masses of miles underneath his belt, and you know, so was Brian Bouffier, not maybe much as globally, but, you know, in Europe. And both of those guys, as well as Jan Kopecky, saying that they just never face anything like this on gravel. But interesting conditions. It makes the spectacle even greater for us, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, again, we talked about this yesterday. One of my great loves of rallying is that you can see it all working. You can see the machinery happening. You can see how the forces work on the car, which is often hidden by slick tyres and a dry racing surface, you know, in single-seater or saloon car racing. But in rallying, yeah, it's good and raw. Now this guy, fastest on the last stage, Martin Kangor, so this young Estonian, another of the Ford Fiesta R5s built by M Sport in Cumbria. And you've just said this, you know, before we came on air, flashes of real speed. You know, he was quicker than the two guys that are battling each other for the win here, and that means they've got plenty to go for.
Oh, whoa, absolutely.
And there goes that tree.
Yeah, he was looking to get around there. The car just pushed on and understeered. He was a little bit late on the brakes, perhaps. But yeah, Martin Kangor he's a young guy from Estonia, and he has got talent, and he shows flashes of it. Like I said before, consistency. He's got the bit between the teeth. He was fastest on the previous stage from the guys who were slogging it out at the front. Brian Bouffier and Kataj Katanovic is, you know, they're fighting for the rally lead. Okay, Brian Bouffier has this problem that we're aware of now, but nobody was aware of it in the last stage. Martin Kangor pipped them both by a second and a half, almost. So he's got speed within him. He just needs to get that speed out consistently, and I'm sure we'll see good things from him.
Well, every time we've seen his car, it's shown the signs of how it's earned that speed. And again, here you can see the rear bumper hanging off and stuff. No idea, incidentally, what his sponsor does. I didn't feel the need particularly to go and look for it. If you read it down the side of the door, if you're an English speaker, you think, okay, that's a bizarre name for a sponsor, but I'm sure in Estonia or wherever the company comes from, it's an entirely sensible name for a business. But again, you know, this is proper Harry Flatter stuff, and the car
is having a go
up on its toes a lot. Yes. I mean, it's really tippy-toeing.
Yeah, he's pushing on. You can see that he's drifted wide in two junctions there, and all that attack that came through there, and he had to straight line that road more by force than actual desire, because he just carried too much speed over the crest, and the car went light, and he needed to slow it down in a hurry. And all the speed he gained by going quickly, he lost in a junction. That junction was a lot tidier, but the two junctions previously, we saw him slide very deep into the junction, into the deep gravel, and he's lost everything he's gained. So, you know, he's pushing on, he's trying his hardest.
When you're talking about potentially winning places here by a second or so, when you've got 25 kilometers to try and find those few seconds, it's got to come in tenths everywhere. And that means just hooking the wheel on the inside. This is a ditch hooking area here.
Yes.
And, you know, because of the recce, you know that that clump of reeds there doesn't hide a massive concrete block. But otherwise, you'd be, you know, really in jeopardy.
Yeah, you don't want to second guess that. You'd like to have prior knowledge that there either is something there or there isn't, and you have it in your pace notes. But we can see the roads actually dried out a lot from this morning. I remember this section, and they couldn't be as committed as this. It was a lot more slippery.
As you say, you know, you go from sandy nature of the soil to, you know, straight to a band of clay, and the grip level utterly different. It's like hitting standing water almost. On board with Craig Breen.
Craig's had a steady rally. I don't think he's probably been as quick as he wanted to be quite honest. Yeah, he's doing the job, he's getting experience, but Craig has talent, and I'm sure for him to be having to say that at the end of a rally or the end of a stage, he doesn't want to. You know, he wants to be proving himself now. He's at a critical point in his career, and for whatever reason, this weekend just hasn't had the pace I expected of him, and probably he expected of himself.
Well, we talked before yesterday about this really vital, nice tidy run. You just see
the exact difference between Martin Kango and Craig Breen down that section. Craig had it much more under control coming into it and got out of the corner, slow in, fast out, and he fired the car out in the middle of the road on a good line.
100.
We talked about the vital nature of the relationship between a driver and co-driver. It's 100% on trust. The co-driver's got to be able to get the notes out, sometimes so fast you can barely say them, and if it's not your native tongue, that can be difficult to really adapt to, and that's perhaps a little bit where Lara van Ester is not struggling so much, but not quite right on the money, and as a result, Craig's probably not quite right on the money either. But
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I mean, Lara, I know, speaks Flemish, French, English, obviously perfectly well. We can clearly understand it, but to have those pace notes written in a language that isn't your first language, and to deliver them at speed, she's not getting tongue-tied, but perhaps, you know, she just can't spit them out. We saw earlier on this stage previously, Craig gave the hand signal to go on, you know, read on, go further, go faster. I need more information sooner. I think that's maybe been a little problem, not the whole rally, but those things crop up and they just unnerve you, spoil the rhythm, etc., etc.
And the other thing for Lara, of course, is she knows that one wrong note and they're upside down in a ditch or nose on into a tree. So she's trying to give him stuff, but she doesn't know how far ahead she can read and that he will be able to cope with. And again, that's part of the symbiosis. You know, if they do more events together, that will mesh, that will start to gel, and then she will know what he can deal with, and he will know that he's going to get what he needs. But you can't do that from a startup. It doesn't happen.
You need mileage
automatically
to build that relationship, to build that trust. And it's that knowledge, like you said, of each other, to know how much information the driver requires. You know, on the reconnaissance, the driver gives the pace notes, he reads the road. A lot of people don't understand that the co-driver actually reads back what the driver dictates them on the recce. The co-driver doesn't make the pace notes, the co-driver writes them down and has to deliver them back at the right time. This is the quick section this morning that I think they had a little bit of trouble with.
Well, the other thing, of course, just to get back to Craig before we get up to Michael Kosciuszko, is that Craig is only the second guy in the top 10 in a Peugeot 207. Now, the Ford Fiestas, the regional rally car version and the R5 version are clearly, and the Skoda of Jan Kopecki, are clearly a better car in these conditions on this rally. The only other Peugeot in front of Craig is a three-time Polish champion, Brian Bouffier, who's much more familiar with Poland, these stages, this nature of stage, and also with the car.
The car he developed, he was one of the lead test drivers in that car. Well, I'm taking a wild guess, maybe 6-7 years ago now. You know,
throughout its genesis and its development,
that car better than anybody else in the world. So, you know, there's one excuse, but just to give a sort of little bit of background, this is an R5 car we're following now, Michael Kosciuszko, and an R5 car is a turbo car as opposed to a Super 2000 car, which both of the Peugeots are. With a Super 2000 car, the engine's naturally aspirated. Oh, big cut there.
That's a big cut,
It's not a junction. He saved a lot of time there. You know, it wasn't arrowed just to bail in the field. Not quite sporting, but you know, you can do it.
just big ditch hooking.
But yeah, to get back to the car difference, in terms of engine, obviously one's a turbo, one's naturally aspirated. The turbo cars rev to 7,500 RPM, but their peak power is about 4.5, 5. With the naturally aspirated engines, they rev to 8,500. Their peak power is about 8,250, so right at the top of the rev band. When it comes to top speed, which this is a very quick stage, and Brian Bouffier was wondering if he'd be able to take the time back from the R5 car, because the nature of these stages is very, very quick. When the turbo car gets to 110 miles an hour, which it will do as easily as the Super 2000 car, the Super 2000 car hits a brick wall and it stops because it hits the limiter. It can go no faster than its top speed. The turbo car gets to 110 miles per hour at 4.5, 5,000 RPM and can still keep going even though it's lost maximum boost. It will still keep accelerating, obviously, with engine RPM. So that's where the Super 2000 generally loses out top speed, as well as there's a massive difference in torque figures. The R5 car has probably 1.5, just a little bit more than 1.5 times the torque. And in these conditions, when you're pulling on heavy roads like this, that is an advantage straight away.
Well, the other thing that gives you an indication of the nature of the engines is that you need a 6-speed gearbox to get the most out of the normally aspirated Super 2000 car. You only have 5 speeds in the R5. That's not for cost. It's not because a 6-gear gives you more top speed. You just change the gears to give you more top speed or less top speed and to get the ratios in the right place. What it means is that it doesn't need to be kept right at the top of the rev range all the time, which is what you use the extra gears for, and you know, that's why racing cars literally have more gears than a road car, because you use them higher up the rev range rather than a road car engine. And so the R5 is pulling from lower and producing power all the way through the rev range in a way that the Super 2000 can't, and especially when it's muddy, especially when it's slick and you can't have the engine right on the top of the cam all the time. It's got more low down lugging speed.
Exactly like that for big ruts. They can get out of the ruts quicker.
So the Super 2000 Peugeots, and to a degree the Skoda, are really struggling against these modern generation of turbo cars. Jan Kopecki from the Czech Republic, the leader of the European Rally Championship point standings. The Skoda Super 2000 car. Kopecki 7th on the road after the overnight regroup.
He's maybe sniffing a podium because he knows Brian Bouffier has a problem with his brakes, so he looks like he's pushing on quite hard. Has a big chunk to make up though. It's 1 minute and 8 seconds. It's a big, big ask for him to make that up.
Well, you're not going to do it just on driver genius alone, are you? But if the car in front has got a problem, there's no point in just, you know, relaxing through the stage at a moderate speed, because you never want to leave any points on the table that you might have got. Not much point sitting in an FIA prize-giving gala in December watching somebody else get the trophy and going, God, if I just pushed Bouffier in Poland, that would be me. And you will know that in the end, you know, that 1 or 2. It's unlikely to come down to 1 or 2 points, but should it, you don't want to have left those on and go, no, we'll just take it easy.
You don't leave anything on the stage at all, you know, and that's the thing. You always know that it will happen inevitably. You'll analyse it afterwards and you'll go, oh, yeah, okay, that note can be a little bit quicker for next year, etc., etc. But at the time, you have to give it everything.
15:32.1 for Dominykas Butvilas of Lithuania, and Neil Cole is down there at stage finish to talk to him.
Can you tell us what the conditions of the stage are like?
It's not so good, but it's okay. Very bumpy, but I don't know. I don't have brakes now in the finish, so it was really frustrating.
Well, you know, like racing, it's all about speed, but as the advert says, speed is nothing without control. If you can't stop it in the right places, then you can't go fast where you want to either. So brakes are as vital a part of the car as the engine. Possibly more. They tend to get you out of trouble. Engines tend to get you in it, or driver and
Definitely,
engine.
it's not the easiest scenario to be in, but we can see there Martin Kango and Kosciuszko, they're on the pace here. They're driving quickly. It'll be interesting to see Jan split, which obviously he's working his way towards now. He is shoving on. He's having a go.
Yeah, last stage, and he's not holding back here at all, is he? This is definitely not a man cruising.
He performs better under pressure. I can't understand it. The whole of the first day, he seemed just to be not at the races, but he was opening the road. He had no lines to follow, and he's only just won his first gravel rally this year. And, you know, and he's been rallying for 10 years. So, you know, he's broken that duck, but at the same time, he just doesn't seem to have that confidence, you know, to go out there and say, right, okay, I'm going to grab this rally by the scruff of the neck. No doubt it may come to him, but he can do that on tarmac, but on gravel he just likes to follow, and then when the pressure comes, he pulls it out of the bag.
Jeremy Ancien comes in 3 seconds, 3.7 seconds quicker than Dominicas Butvilas, so he is our current
that was a
leader.
Good stage time. It's good to get that stage in one go without stopping.
Yeah, I did this stage only to be finished. The rally, it was very difficult because we make some mistake yesterday, and today I had a problem, little problem, but it's okay.
Well, he did make a couple of mistakes. Craig Breen made a couple of mistakes yesterday, had a puncture as well, and that slowed the car down, but that engine stoppage in this stage earlier on this morning really just put the nails in the coffin for Ancien. But Kosciuszko flying, Kopecky just as fast, and that shows the commitment of the Skoda driver.
You could throw a hat over 4 of them, and even Craig's pace seemed to be quicker than it has been the whole of the rally, so maybe he's got the last throw of the dice, knowing it's the last stage. Right, okay, let's see if we can do something.
Well, the other thing, of course, is he's got a dozen stages under his belt with Lara, his new co-driver, and it's all starting to work a little better. And of course, the conditions are a touch drier, the spectators are a touch madder, the conditions are a touch drier, and you've been through the stage already, and that just helps a little with the confident flow. You get to a bit and go, oh yeah, I remember this, because you guys have a remarkable ability to kind of remember, you know, the salient points about the stage, especially one that you didn't get right the first time through. You're, oh, this is that one, right, sorted that, and that, you know, there's tenths, there's seconds sometimes.
Absolutely, this is a fantastic section, really narrow, really quick, and good commitment from Michał Solovov. See, there's an experienced driver.
Is that the Shoot Farmyard?
No, that's at the end of the stage.
That's
the
right
end of the stage. But there's an experienced driver. I mean, yes, he's not a top driver, and he's probably classed. He's not definitely not a gentleman driver. He's quick. He's competitive. But that was experience. He was really committed in the fast section, and at the junction where you can generally only lose a great deal of time by outbraking yourself and making a mistake, he was really nice and controlled and got the car really straight and neat and got on that accelerator very, very quickly. And again, it's good. It's good driving.
But this is the classic, you know, amateur driver making sure the car gets round the corner. You know, he can't afford to be binning it looking for that extra 100 because he's got to finish rallies, and one of the reasons that he does so well is that he does consistently finish his rallies so well. He's got loads of experience, years and years of experience in machinery like this, on rallies like this, and and of course being at home, so much more important.
That's probably given him extra half a second a kilometre, I think. The feel-good factor of being at home and wanting to impress. The man of the moment.
Yeah, no question. He's been the man of the day today. Katanovic, 9th on the road. So Brian Bouffier waiting to start behind him, and then Toshi Arai.
I think there's a lot of people standing by the side of the roads with their fingers crossed here, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Again, he's going out there, he's keeping the concentration high, good commitment, he's not relaxed, he's not resting on his laurels that Brian has a problem. Yes, he has an 18.7 second buffer coming into the stage, but he wants to go out there and win it, do it properly.
Yeah, no question. You, especially the last stage, even if you didn't win any since the service loop, you want to at least win the last one to take victory, you know, with the best time. Craig Breen in the inset, flying towards the finish line, looking a lot more flamboyant than the previous time through the stage, and obviously feeling a lot more confident in the car. And second quickest to Butvilas, who was quicker than, to Jeremy Ancien. So similar car, and the two Peugeots separated by about a dozen seconds.
Craig, the rear left is destroyed. What happened in there?
Another puncture. And I put my hand up and say I hit a few stones during the rally, but I definitely didn't touch anything there. Just went soft all of a sudden. So, just a disaster, just an absolute disaster. But hey ho, made it to the finish. Perhaps not the result, or definitely not the result we're looking for. But I have to say hats off to Lara. He's done a fantastic job. My notes are difficult enough for anybody, so he's done a tremendous job. We came to the finish. Okay, not as much speed as I hope, but look, it's still some positive to take.
And we're missing Martin Kangur. Did you see him on the stage?
Yeah, he stopped the boot open, so I don't know whether he's changing the puncture or something. So.
There you go. So a highly experienced set of hands at stage finish there with Neil Cole. Knows exactly what's going on. And we hadn't seen that Kangur had stopped the onboard camera when Jeremy Ossian stopped. The onboard cameraman picked that up. But you can't record all the onboards all in one go. You have to pick and choose which ones you're getting. And
disappointing for Craig and Lara there. They were having a go on the last stage, and their split time was good. So not to get a clean stage at the end when he's giving it a go, just to see what they could potentially do together would be very disappointing not to take that away from the weekend.
Again, you know, puncture halfway through, probably about a dozen kilometres in, he was still going quickly, and then but with Kangur dropping down the order, that pushes him a little further up. As I said, there's very often a bit of a bonus.
Didn't compete in. How was it for you?
It was nice. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues with the car, but the car was good, and I like the feeling of driving this car. Except of those problems, we could fight for podium, but I think we made a nice clear run on the last stage, and maybe we got the 4th position.
So Michał Kosciuszko coming in 25 seconds ahead of Jeremy Ossian. 37 ahead of Craig Breen, so that's a big step up for him. Well, good opportunity to compare and contrast the different views of the different bits of the stage between Kacjanovic above and Bouffier below. These are the guys battling for this rally win. Kacjanovic took the lead overnight, held by Brian Bouffier, and is absolutely, he's giving this everything, isn't he?
We'll have to try and see if we can really tell if he's on 3 brakes or if he's managed to fix it. He might have had a hole in the brake pipe and been able to fix it.
Bouffier was saying earlier on he was driving at 110%. The problem for him has been that the car's not often been at as much as 90%. There's pretty much all day, yesterday and today, well certainly today, been things wrong with it. Drive shafts, dampers, tyres, brakes now. See the way it leaps out of the ruts.
I'm just trying to spot, it doesn't seem to be struggling too much with the car, but if it's a rear brake, you wouldn't unless you're on real heavy braking, and the ruts will be helping a little bit, so.
Christoph Horchitz coming to the finish. 6th man into the stage, 5th man out of it, so final stage disaster for Martin Kangur.
You can just see the car snapping out of the ruts there for Brian Bouffier. Real hard work this stage.
Well
Must
done,
be pumping up the forearms like nobody's business.
Yeah, it was. When I need, I will do it. It's nice. We're flying a little bit, sometimes behind the road, but still on the finish. It's okay, I'm happy. Okay, 6th position is nothing special. 3 years ago on the WRC business, I was 6th, but 6 now is okay.
Good stuff for Christoph. Brand new car to him, as he was telling us earlier. Never driven it before the rally, so really getting on with that. And he will end up likely in 5th place as we lose the Ford Focus of Martin Kangur. And this for this man, this looks like the stage that is going to take him to victory here in the 70th running of Rally Poland.
We need a split time, don't we, to see what Brian Bouffier is doing against this man watching on screen at the moment.
Bouffier needs a massive result here, doesn't he? He needs a real shock.
This is Jan Kapecki we're on board with now. See the lights getting flat as well, coming towards the finish.
So through the red boards, that's the flying fish. Martin Kangur behind. That's the other Ford. Look there with the tailgate still open. They just tossed the tools in the back and the damaged tyre or wheel or whatever it was and threw it onto the road, losing as few seconds as possible. Jan Kopecki comes across the line, 1.7 up in the lead. So again, you know, as you said, bedding himself in and looking like he was just chilling out yesterday. Really attacked hard today. He's been right up with the fast times, and it shows.
Well done, Jan. Quickest time so far. How was the stage and the rally?
It was good. The stage is nice. I tried to keep quite high speed, but without any risk. I have to say, I don't know, I think it was Kosciuszko or someone with a problem. Say a big thank you to him, because now before the end I just went out from the road, so it was great from him. And thanks to Skoda, thanks to the team that we were able to drive here, and hopefully see you in Croatia.
That may well be where they celebrate a European Rally Championship win. And of course it was Martin Kangor. He couldn't tell because it was just a Ford with the tailgate up, so all he saw was the interior and the back of the cage and the seats. So yeah, clearly had pulled off the road. And that's one of the things that as a driver, when you know you've been delayed, half the time you're kind of glancing in the mirror, making sure you don't, you know, ruin somebody else's stage as well.
This is we'll come back to that. It's a beautiful part of the stage here. Lots of bumps and jumps.
And then we had the puncture. So we changed the tire and just drove through the stage. But I'm happy with my pace on some stages, so not completely disaster for me.
There you go, you've got to pick the positives out of it. Martin Kangor lost power steering, then had a puncture, probably his legacy of not being able to keep the car quite where he wanted it and running, you know, wide into stuff. And but you know, you pick the bones out of that. He knows he's set fastest time on 2 stages, been very close on a number of others. Okay, hasn't had all the luck, hasn't had all the consistency. That comes with experience.
That was beautiful there. It was a really big jump, and you just saw how effective these dampers are. The car came down just so cushioned again there.
Well, this is
you don't notice it, do you?
No,
it goes in the air and just sits.
I was saying about how bumpy the stage is. You know, there's a series of hops and skips and jumps all the way through.
They are expensive dampers and they are made for the job, but they are definitely doing the job.
Well, like I said,
going back to Jan Kopecki in our conversation before, Jan at the start of this year wasn't even sure of a rally programme. He only had 2 or 3 rallies, and they started so strongly that Skoda kept rolling over to another rally, and he's built a championship like that. So I'm sure now they'll give him the satisfaction of being able to finish it on the next round. He said he was hoping to see us in Croatia next time. I'm sure he'll be there.
Well, let's hope so. On board with Bryn Bouffier. Again, busy hands, but that's been really a factor of this rally. It, you know, even for a rally on the loose, the drivers have been working really hard on the wheel.
He has no handbrake. He has no handbrake, so whatever fix he's done on the brakes,
on the rear. Yeah, and he daren't use the handbrake either because it's not effective, or because he doesn't want to pop something out that's been jury rigged.
This is that section I was just talking about.
Yeah. Solovov comes through to the finish. And this is quick as you like, isn't it?
Narrow, grassy, muddy, bumpy. We're not going to get a split. It's going to be right in the finish. We're going to know what's happened.
Yep. Solovov comes in, and Bouffier really pushing. So too Kajtanovic.
That car looks down on the left rear. I don't know if he's,
doesn't it? Looks like something's collapsed on the back rear. Back rear, back left.
Yeah, very noisy.
There's no rear left tyre.
Yes, unfortunately I got the puncture 6 kilometers after the start, more or less.
Kajtanovic is just behind you.
That's 3 cars with a rear left puncture.
Yeah.
Breen, Michael Solovov and Martin Kangor. I wonder if they've hit the same thing.
Well, you know, there's always that possibility, isn't it? If there's something hiding in the grass, it's hidden from all of them.
Absolutely. It can be absolutely anything. They'll probably never know, but there is a good chance they probably have hit the same thing, whether it's been a piece of metal in the road or whatever. You sometimes
looks
never
like you're
know.
Pushing very hard, but do you think you've done enough?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I have a fantastic team, Lotus Rally team. Great pilot, co-driver. Is I think it's the best day in my life. Okay, maybe not best, that second day in my life. Second best day. But first day it was first time too. But you know, with girlfriend, yeah.
Maybe a message in Polish for us.
Excuse me.
In Polish, maybe.
Mówię, że mam świetny zespół, Lotos Rally Team, fantastycznego pilota. Dziękuję im wszystkim. Cieszę się bardzo, to jest najlepszy dzień w moim życiu i jeden z najlepszych na pewno. Bo to był ten pierwszy raz z dziewczyną, ale teraz też cieszę się bardzo. To jest nowy samochód dla mnie kompletnie i obojętnie czy nam się, czy wygraliśmy czy nie, to nie ma znaczenia. Ale czas jest ok, więc myślę, że nie jest źle.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, moving right along from that one, even in Polish, I think we were verging there towards the censor's bleep button. Brian Bouffier clipping the big straw bale on the inside at Overshoot Farmyard corner as Kajtanovic's friends break loose with the fizzy. Yeah, he has won this one. And Bouffier comes in fourth fastest, 4.6 behind. Kajtanovic was 1.1 ahead of Jan Kopecki. And so Michał Kosciuszko comes in third. And Tovchitz will be fifth fastest ahead of Jeremy Ancien and Craig Breen.
I feel sorry for Brian Bouffier because he led the rally all the way through until his damper broke this morning. But nevertheless, it's been a fantastic rally.
Brian, the champagne is already on Kajetan's car. You did very well in there, but not well enough.
You know, I pushed like hell. I did my best, but it's like this, you know. This is rally. We had some problem. I don't know if I could compete with Kaito, but it was a great battle. We were 100%. It was nice. Nice match.
It was incredible to watch you.
Well, we talked about the respect between competitors in rallying this morning, didn't we? And about not being able to hide secrets because everybody talks to each other. And Kaito and his co-driver, the first to come over and shake Brian Bouffier and Xavier Panseri by the hand. Jaroslav Baran, the co-driver, and Kaito Kajtanovic coming over to say, well done, guys, great battle. You know, only one driver can win these things habitually, even by a half a second. There's usually a difference. And so a pair of three-time Polish rally champions battling with each other, and in the end Kajtanovic takes the victory here and his fourth Polish rally title. So two massively experienced pairs of crews. They put on a real humdinger of a battle today. No quarter given, none asked, and if Bouffier's car had been up to the task, it would have been even closer, surely.
Absolutely, I think they've had a great battle, you know, the whole rally, and Kajtanovic has done a fantastic job. You know, he was behind, not by a massive amount, but he just slowly ate away at Brian this morning. Okay, Brian had a problem with the damper, but he's been consistent all day, and you can't take that away from him.
So victory for Kaito, victory too for M Sport Ford and the Lotos Rally team. The unofficial winner of Rally Poland 2013 is Kaito Kajtanovic, Brian Bouffier in second place, Jan Kopecki in third, and again vital points towards the hunt for the FIA European Rally Championship for 2013. 70th Rally Poland, didn't have the best of luck with weather, but certainly had plenty of competition. Bouffier showing the field the way on day one. Kajtanovic capitalising from a couple of breaks in Peugeot's usually reliable armour to overhaul Bouffier when the Frenchman was struggling for grip. 23.3 seconds is the unofficial gap between them. Guy Wilkes, a good battle in the end. The conditions did not much to dampen that. In fact, from our spectator viewpoint, it made the cars even more lively looking on the stages.
It definitely gave us plenty to talk about, didn't it? It was fantastic viewing, and I definitely think the weapon of choice this weekend was an R5 car. That's nothing against the Skoda or the Peugeot. It just seems, well, it is more technically advanced, and it showed, you know, physically over that bumpy terrain.
Mixed nicely though here on the stage times.
Absolutely.
On this long stage, you know, two R5s, two Super 2000 cars covered by under 5 seconds. So
I think it's balanced, you know, with the standard of the drivers.
Yeah.
But if you've got the top guys in the Super 2000 cars and the top guys in the R5 cars, I think the R5 car definitely on this rally would be ahead. It just seems to have that, you can see, for me, it's visibly clear, you know, the development is that little bit much further on. And also, in these conditions, the power-sapping conditions, they've got the advantage.
Narrow there at the end, the overall classification. Kosciuszko up into third place. ahead of Bouffier. That doesn't look like an overall, not by 1.1 seconds.
That was a stage classification.
That must be the stage classification again. So Kosciuszko, we have overall 2 minutes 14 behind the leader. Kopecky third, 1 minute 28 behind the leader. Bouffier second place, Kacanovic in first place. And next up, end of September for Rally Croatia. We had another Eastern European event, and again, not too far to go for Skoda or for Jan Kopecky from home. And wonder how he will fare there. Again, he's going to have the same dilemma, if you like, happy dilemma, where he's got a big points cushion and he doesn't have to go out and win. It's not back to the wall time. He's got to nurse the car through and maybe get day one under his belt, then see where they are with a chance of trying to win the championship as he wins the rally.
Absolutely, he's done all the hard work in not the first half, but the first 2/3 of the championship. You could definitely see it was a calculated drive this weekend. He knows he has a championship, not in his hands, but it is there for the taking. It's only he who can make the slip up, and that showed it was reflected in his approach and his driving and his times.
Well, 12 rallies in the championship. You keep your best 4 point scores from the first 6 and then your best 4 from the next 6. And Craig Breen has already had to drop 12 points from the first 5 rallies that he did before the second half of the season started with round 7. But no drop point scores so far for Jan Kopecky. Everything he's earned, he's kept. And he leads the championship as they head to Croatia next time out. For the moment, though, from Poland, from Guy Wilkes and me, Martin Haven, it's goodbye and thank you for watching.